And if you're just with us, a tectonic player shift in the league. Four-time scoring champion, former MVP Kevin Durant has decided to move to the Golden State Warriors. He'll sign a 2-year, $54+ million deal with a player option for the summer of 17 when he can sign a full max contract with Golden State, or perhaps even move somewhere else, though no one is expecting that at this point. Let's get more reaction now here from the Hall of Famer Isiah Thomas, who's with us from parts unknown. I don't know where you are, Zeke, but I want to know how surprised you are, if at all, about this move.
I'm not surprised that he left OKC. I am surprised that he chose Golden State. However, when I think about Golden State's team and also their management, when you look at Myers and you look at Jerry West, this is something that I think he would look at OKC's management and Golden State's management and probably say, okay, who has the best chance of giving me the opportunity to win a championship and grow as a person and also grow as a man. And I think Golden State presented that to him more so than OKC.
I want to get your thoughts on this idea of superstars changing teams. We went through this a couple of times with LeBron James back in the summer of 2010 and then just 2 years ago, because you played in an era where players for the most part didn't do this through free agency and they didn't team build the way it's done now, where stars kind of collude and get together to build super teams. Well, what do you make of this idea that he's joining the team that he couldn't beat in the Western Conference playoffs?
You know, Matt, when you're talking about winning championships and you're talking about competing against, the opponent, and I'll take myself back to when we had to compete against the Celtics and try to dethrone the Celtics. You always want to make the opponent weaker so you can therefore dethrone them. And if Larry Bird had any point in time said, hey, I want to come play for the Detroit Pistons, we all would have welcomed Larry Bird with open arms and said, hey, come play with us. In sports, I believe in dominance. I believe that, when you do have super teams and you do have great players playing with each other, I think it makes the game better and it elevates the league and it forces everyone to dig a little deeper and get a little better. So I refer to those Celtics teams and I look at those Lakers teams. I mean, Matt, when I stood on that podium with the 50 greatest players ever, I was the only one on that podium who didn't have a teammate that was one of the 50 greatest players to ever play the game. So all these, when we talk about great players moving teams, moving from team to team to play with each other, that's always been the history of our league. However, that hasn't been the narrative of our league. But when you look at that Laker team, when you look at that Celtic team, all those teams were stacked. And I'm sure when Jerry West had a chance to speak to Kevin Durant, he probably pointed out to him that Magic played with Kareem, Worthy, Bob McAdoo, so forth and so on. It's that's how the league is. And when you look at football, the greatest players, the greatest teams, that San Francisco 49ers team, I think they had 11 or 12 Pro Bowlers on that team. When Deion Sanders left Dallas to go play for the 49ers. So this has been the history of sport, and the narrative hasn't necessarily reflected the history of our game.
Well, by the way, he's leaving a pretty good team as well, and a team that arguably should have reached the NBA Finals after not being able to finish off a 3-1 lead against the Golden State Warriors. What is your interpretation of Russell Westbrook's future? You know how players talk. Obviously, at some point, Durant had a conversation with Russ. It doesn't mean that whatever Russ told him was a factor in his decision, but as a player, what's your interpretation?
As a former player, I go back and I try to put myself in that locker room. And at one time, you had Westbrook, you had Harden, you had Durant, you had Ibaka. All of them were very young men growing up in this league. And you do form relationships of trust, loyalty, and respect And when you see your friends constantly being moved or traded or going to different places, that definitely reflects on management. And I would say Westbrook will probably either be traded before the season starts to see what they can get for him, or at the end of the season, Westbrook leaves and he goes to another franchise.
So you think one way or the other, he's out the door?
If you're Westbrook and you've seen Harden go out the door, and regardless of his relationship with Reggie Jackson or not, you've seen Jackson go out the door, you've seen Ibaka go out the door, and you've seen Durant go out the door. These are all guys that you've been to war with, and had 7-8 years of, bond and trust and friendship with, and they all walk out the door. That the door looks, pretty wide open for you now to walk out also.
As for his new team, Durant joins a Warriors team that already had 3 All-Stars on it, 3 elite Olympic-type players. Though Steph Curry's not part of the Olympic team this summer. Just how formidable a group is this? The Warriors are a young team. They've already won the West back-to-back years. Durant won't be 28 until September. Their stars are all in their 20s. What kind of a juggernaut could this be?
Well, it's going to be must-see TV, and it's going to be great for you and I, Matt, on NBA TV every night. But I think for the league, and I think for basketball internationally as a global game, this is going to be a great team to watch and to chronicle and see how well they can do. Now, I think for Cleveland and other teams who are trying to compete with them, it forces Cleveland now to say, okay, we have to make another move. We have to get better because Golden State just got better.
Forces everybody to reconsider things at this point. More to the point, how do you guard this team?
What was the movie Eat, Pray, and Love? There will be nights when the 3 of them are on, and it's going to be must-see TV. And we probably have never seen a team like this in the NBA, and I'm looking forward to seeing a team like this play in the NBA with their scoring ability, their youth, their athleticism. When you talk about changing the game and the game evolving and all this other stuff, well, now we get to see the best of the best do it and do it at a very high level. And I hope they all can compete and play at a very high level.
I don't think there's any question about that. It's enormous news. Isiah, we appreciate you stopping by for your perspective.
Hey, thank you.